show much, but it's just a conversation. It's
Yes.
nothing to get nervous about. We're just having a conversation.
Okay.
We're just having a conversation in front of a bunch of people.
Yeah.
Yeah,
My
bunch.
English is not so well.
Yeah, but yeah, there it goes. They're starting to come in now. Yeah, I don't know how. How did you write in to the email, or did we How did that happen?
I write you a long time ago.
Yes, okay, I remember that.
Uh, I, I think half year ago or something.
Yeah,
And for a few weeks, I get a message if I will to come to the show
yeah,
to
yeah.
invite me.
Yes, yeah, and that's one thing. We have so many people on this list. I don't even know what it is now, but we never forget. So we just keep working it. We keep working it, and sometimes
Yeah.
it takes a few months. But but I'm glad you're here, and
Thank
yeah,
you.
I'm really happy you're here. And I don't know if you watch the show, you know what we talk about, but. And I was looking at your page because I saw I went to go get your picture, and then I saw the friend
Mm.
request, and so once I opened the friend request, and I got to see some posts, one of your beautiful daughter, I think from yesterday or today, and
Yeah.
yeah, and I saw that you're a practitioner. It looks like you've been doing this for a while.
Yeah, I do it for a while, but there were things happening that put me in the dark, so I can't do my thing anymore.
You can't do it now.
No,
Wow.
no. There's 2 years ago when the corona started. It it was going well with me, and I growed and grow and grow. And then I'm going on a trip. I have everything move away so that I have nothing then else than my bag, and I go on a trip to Switzerland. And I must go to Italy at the time, but that's how do you say that? It's I don't know the name of it. It's getting Grammy there. So I go back to Holland and I go to a friend of mine, what I thought who was a friend, but they did black magic
Oh wow.
with me. So I lost a lot of things, and she was not the only one. There were more people that took over me.
Wow.
So I can't do my work anymore.
Okay, so let me get this. So you were a practitioner for quite some time,
Yeah.
and then COVID came, and you were called to go on a trip, Switzerland, Italy, etc.
Yeah.
And somewhere along the line, uh, let's just say entities or
Yes.
energies in the form of, or maybe working with human beings
Mm.
that you encountered uh, somehow or another, what, suppressed you or implanted something, or
Yes. Yes. And
that,
they took things away from me.
well, they took things out of you,
Yeah.
like things that were natural to you or things that were
Yeah.
implanted to help you.
And what was natural to me to practice my thing. And now I'm in a I've been through a lot and through a lot of darkness, and I even have seen the hell. We drove there with the car in. It was yeah, it was very dark there, and nothing grows there, and no lights, and yeah,
Now
a lot of
this was your trip into hell. What you
yeah,
okay? And were you conscious when this occurred, or was
yes,
it in dream state? You were
no,
conscious.
no, unconscious, yes.
And do you feel like you left your body and went there, or did you feel like you actually physically went there?
I physically went there.
Okay.
Yeah, it's yeah.
This
How they
is
did
huh?
it, I don't know. But we driving in the car, and yeah, they kidnapped me. I could I can't I go anywhere. So they drive me with the car. It was a few circles, and still more to the inner world,
Right.
and still more yeah, to the darkness.
Now, okay, so wow, this is awesome that you're open to talk about this because I think we can learn a lot and maybe even heal. Um, so obviously, if you're an energy worker and you've been very connected, you know everything is us. It's very
Yes.
strange to have a human experience itself. I just had a huge download last night. I've been writing about it.
Mm.
And I'm barely even like here. And now I know this is part of the reason why. Because what you're talking
Yeah.
about, my whole head is just tingling. So I think this is very good, even though it might be a little bit painful. But
Yeah.
so, first of all, it's one thing to have the human experience. I mean, that's strange enough, right? But when
Yes.
we have the human experience and we also have what I would refer to as conscious dimensional experiences, or you could call it divine episodes or hellish episodes or whatever the case is, that don't really fit into the normal, typical human life.
No.
That becomes very very complicated, and I think more and more of that's happening. I believe it happened to me last night, and
Yes.
I'm still not recovered. So, do you feel like that these other beings, whether they were human or not, or both, it seems like they were both, do you feel like you knew them?
No, I don't know them.
You did
I
not know
only
them.
know no. I only know yeah, those two people. Oh my cat. Who thinks I thought they were friends. They were human. But there were a lot of people, and they weren't human. They I
Those that weren't human, you saw them in hell or somewhere
yeah,
other. Okay, well that makes sense because I've been there too, by the way, and I know other people that have too.
okay.
And so you know,
Physically,
hmm,
physically.
I don't know what that word is. I've been to hell.
Yeah,
I've been to hell
yeah. You've been you.
I've been to hell consciously, and I know other people that have. Now, of course, the question is it real, like by the book, or is it really
Mm,
just us, which is what I think, or what I feel like after all the years. Like, so I went in, and I was still living my life, but I was in hell at the same time, twice. And it was just as real as my life. But I feel like that place that I went was inside of me. All
mm-hmm,
the demons were inside of me. The devil,
mm-hmm.
whatever I saw, the angels were inside of me. So this is really interesting because it's almost like you went into a portal
Yeah,
within yourself, but at the same time, there were these other beings involved. Do you feel like that there was any ET or military, secret government, secret society, anything like that involved with this?
No, I don't see them. It were actually they look like normal people, but in their eyes you can see that they they weren't from here.
They weren't from the earth.
And no,
They weren't from the inner earth. They weren't from the beyond earth. I mean, they weren't from earth or inner
the
earth.
underground. Yeah.
They were from somewhere else.
Yes.
Did they tell you who they were?
No, we don't speak. We just drive in the car and drive and drive and drive. And every time it's going a layer down.
Mm-hmm.
And I was very scared, but I could, go out of the car. So we drove a long time. And it must been weeks that we drive.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. And have you tried to get your powers back? Like working with your own divine essences or whatever energies you work with, be it like Mother Mary or whoever.
Yeah, I try, but it looked like they put something out of me where I can't come there anymore. At the end, we drove to a house, and at that moment they called a clinic, and they put me in the clinic.
A lot of us have been there.
Yeah.
So that's. Do you think that you'll get your powers back?
I don't think so.
Really?
I tried, and I don't know how to do it. I think I lost it.
Are you afraid or in fear of those beings that did that to you?
Yes, because I'm very afraid that they come to get me also and put me in a clinic and make their job done.
I wonder how, because everybody's experience is different. I mean, it looks different, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, here on Earth, and but it seems to be one thing that seems to be one thing that seems to work, I guess. Not that it's easy. I'm not saying it's easy. And that is the integration of polarities, like fear and love, good and evil, anything that comes our way. I just wonder if there's a way, whether we can help, or I don't really know, because we just do everything spontaneously and as it happens here, right? But I wonder if there's a way that we can, or that you can find that 0 point field, equality with that force that you're afraid of and you feel like is taking power from you, right?
Yeah.
You in no way feel like you gave permission for them to take something from you.
No, I don't have any permission.
See, that's kind of disturbing to me, because as I understand the universe, with whatever I can remember, this life and others, this is one thing you don't do. this is why Earth got into the mess it did, because people were taking things from people, right? The people were taking property or taking family or taking wives away or taking, food away. We don't do that. So I'm not really sure who you're dealing with, at what level, but this isn't going to stand. It's not going to stand.
No.
The universal energy that's on the earth now, that's expanding very rapidly, is not going to put up with this stuff.
Yes.
I believe that these things can be handled immediately, especially when they involve some type of violation like that. That's just not cool. And I've had a couple of friends that have had similar experiences. They both ended up in the psychiatric ward, and they both came out of it. And there does seem to be some type of link, I think, between the psychiatric medical system, especially if you go back 100 years, 150 years, and you look at how the size of these asylums they had in the world. They were gigantic, and they were in the middle of nowhere, many of them. But I think there's some kind of connection there. Like, they put people there, and then they can grab them and nobody knows about it, kind of thing.
Yeah.
But I think I don't think I know. Nobody at this point in time should be disempowered beyond their control. And maybe that's something that was happening, but that's all going away now. And
I hope so. It's for me, it's every day living in fear. I'm so afraid of what is coming, and it is. I have street fear, so I don't come on the street. Sometimes I do. Sometimes I do. I go out, but I'm so afraid of the people around me. I don't trust anymore.
Do you, okay, before this happened, what kind of information were you carrying? Were you getting information about the earth and the changes of the earth and the changes of our awakening?
Yeah.
Or were
about.
Yeah.
Sorry. About the matrix, the codes from God, all that stuff.
And did you ever have any experiences before with dark energy or men in black?
Yes.
Or, okay, with what?
Yes.
With dark energy?
Yeah.
But it's not the same dark energy that you've encountered in this case.
No.
Well. And so you have not talked to the energy of these entities.
No,
Yeah.
I didn't talk to them.
Yeah. Wow. I don't know. I don't know what to say. I can tell you of my own experience. I had 2 1,000-night, 1,000-day, 1,000-night trips to hell, what I would call hell. And and the interesting thing about it was it was a well, like a deep, deep well that you couldn't get out of, right? And so, everything bad happened there. But looking at the top, looking up the well to the surface, I could see my guides. I could see my father, mothers, cosmic father, mother. I could see my spirit guides. I could see some other ascended guides that had helped me after I had woke up. And they couldn't help me. They couldn't pull me out. I had to get out myself. And I don't know if that helps anyone or you or anything. That's the only thing I can go off of is my own experience. But the thing that, I guess the other thing that's important too is there reached a point, and I guess it would be similar to your situation, having a fear of the street and still having the fear. because we're, in that case, disempowered. But what happened to me was one morning I woke up and I realized they couldn't kill me. I realized that my soul was in hell and my human was up here walking around, right?
Yeah.
So if it were my human, they could kill me physically. But as my soul, they couldn't touch me. So when they came out to get me that morning, I just said, you know what? You can't kill me. You know, so what, you're going to torture me or pee on me or rape me or beat me or whatever, but you can't kill me. And it was in that moment, it wasn't in that exact moment, but it was in, you know, within a short period of time after that I made it out for the last time. So I don't know, again, how that can help somebody. I can only go off of, and I also know that was a place that my soul chose to go. My soul went there to overcome whatever those beasts and that place represented. Like the dirtiest, nastiest, filthiest, most impure place I've been. But my feelings for it today aren't anything but the same for everything else, right? I mean, so I feel for you. And I guess I would say to anyone listening, if you feel like you can help Esther, you know, if you're okay with it, Esther, reach out to me, or reach out to her directly, or reach out to me to get in touch with her if you don't know how to get in touch with her. There's a technique that Morgan developed years ago. I've never been privy to it being utilized for something like this. But for major traumas, such as rape, such as things, sexual abuse or child molestation, whatever, I have assisted her. And I've also bore witness to the technique, and she calls it a proxy. Because the person, like say in this case you, whatever that trauma is, because most likely whatever you're experiencing with these energies has got to do, well, obviously it has to do with you at some level. It could be an old trauma, it could be what, I don't know. But what happens is the client is so close to, in other words, it's just so powerful that they can't work through it. They can't, they're not going to be able to feel it again because it's so big, right? So what happens? So what happens is, what she does is she gets another person like me. So she facilitated. I'm the proxy, and then she has this way of communicating, you know, through your higher self to my higher self. So basically, I'm doing the work for you, with your permission and with your, right? So you don't have to feel it all. So I don't know if a technique like that might work. But see, these kinds of things used to really make me upset, you know, especially when I first woke up, because, you know, I knew the powers that I had, and I was put, you know, like a lot of us, I was put to work. But I've learned, you know, like I think the last time I had any serious dark energy was when I caught COVID. You mentioned COVID. I caught COVID the same day Franco did. And of course he passed about 10, 12 days later. But mine was 4.5 days of initiations with dark energies. And they just kept getting darker and darker and darker and darker. And my exercise, as I was instructed, was to bring each one of them into my heart, which you can't do if you fear. So right down to the last one, you know, I went, and it took 4.5 days. And I don't know how many there were, probably like 20 or 30, I don't know. But I would just bring them into my heart, no matter what, you know, just no matter what. I'm not afraid of you. I open my heart, and you can't hurt me. And then there's that whole thing, you never know. right?
Yeah.
You never know. And so,
Yeah.
but it's always worked for me since 2016. It's always worked for me. And I hope that can help in some way. But like, yeah, if anybody thinks they might be able to assist Esther, please say something. Yeah. Reach out. Very interesting subject, though, especially this time, day and time.
Yeah.
But and then there's that whole you never know, right? Like when I woke
Mm-hmm.
up, the universe told me, we're going to give you 90% of it. You got to figure the other 10% out. And I said, what do you mean? They're like, well, it's the part that nobody knows. It's the holy darkness. It's the mother's womb. So I look at it this way. We got to be open to everything.
Yeah.
And such as maybe the people that are in control of the mainstream media might be the same people in control of the thought waves.
Yeah.
You never know. Hang on. Sorry, somebody was knocking on the door. So,
Yeah. No. No. Sorry.
yeah, I thought. So what can we do here? What can we do here to amplify the I am soul? Not in defiance of these energies, but in just
Yeah.
power, just power, love.
Yeah. I don't know. Even though I lost my contact with my higher self, I can't reach them anymore. So I sometimes I doubt even having my soul. Is my
Really?
soul here? I don't know anymore.
How long were you a practitioner?
About 8-9 years.
Did you ever witness any instant healing?
Instant healing.
Instant healing?
What do you mean by that?
Well, when you were working with a client, or if you ever witnessed somebody working with a client or a patient, where they healed like that, whether it's physical, emotional block, whatever.
Yeah.
Have you ever
Yeah.
witnessed somebody that instantly healed?
Yeah.
Right. So you know it's possible.
Yeah. But
And
how?
and this is no different. This is I don't know. I'm not a practitioner. I mean, I'm not.
No.
It's not my thing. But I believe everything pops up and occurs for a reason, right? So I look at
Yeah.
this. So Sue Baxter Fitch was saying, that's my question. Did they take your soul? I don't believe anything can take your soul. Do you?
I don't know because I'm afraid of that it happened because I don't feel the things that I feeling earlier anymore. So I think I can't by my higher self. So where is my soul? I questioned myself so many times if. Yeah, have I my soul? Is my soul with me? Have they taken my soul? They did so much things with me and with the black magic.
Do you remember any? Because part of what I was downloading or whatever last night was there was some of that involved. There was. And these were memories, like not just memories of this life, but memories of previous Earth lives, right? And there
Yeah.
was sex magic. There were rituals. There was a lot of ugly stuff, right? But it was
Yeah.
the transmission, and I'm still writing about it, but the transmission was more information and things being cleared, right? So I was just wondering, do you remember in your interaction with these beings any type of rituals or anything like that?
Uh, yes, I think so. I think so.
And you say this took 2 or 3 weeks to go all the way down.
Yeah,
Uh,
we drove there, and uh, there were a lot of cars. They are chasing us, and it's going on. And a lot of trucks. They are chasing us, and it looked like the whole world chasing us. So much cars and so much trucks that followed us, and they stood all on the side from those who were driving.
yeah, you know, this is a different show. But first of all, I think it's important because everybody has their own experience, right? Everybody has their
Yeah,
own journey, and I think it's
yeah,
important that we respect everybody's reality because everybody's reality is true.
yeah,
And I think the other thing that this show is bringing up, that you're bringing up, and thank you, is that it's not just the human world as we know it. It's
no,
not just the five senses. And we've all had our journeys and our awakenings into different stages. But I think what you're bringing up, and what I said earlier, and somebody commented that they're having the same thing, and that is that these type of experiences, you could call them otherworldly, you could call them divine episodes, visitations, they're happening more and more with our human life, right?
yeah,
Like, you know what I mean? Like
yeah,
it's happening more. And it may not be like weeks, but there are people talking about, I walked outside. I mean, you see it in people's pictures when they take pictures of the sky. You see it as some videos. People capturing things around them. I can think of like just even in the last week, talking to a lady, and she says, yeah, I have a unicorn come in my room, like, every couple days. Been with me for a long time. Or somebody
yeah,
says, I was talking with this tree, and the tree was telling me all this stuff about my life. So it's coming together, right?
yeah,
What I find interesting about your situation is the impact of the power of the fear over you, and the power
yeah,
over you, or that allowed you, or whatever happened to give it up. You know what I mean?
yeah. It's a lot. It's
That
a lot. I'm really surviving.
Yeah.
So the fear is I have nightmares, and in the morning I stood up, and I have to overcome, lay down on the couch to reset myself,
Mm.
and the whole day, there are thoughts and fear, and yeah, it's
Are you on? If you don't mind me asking, and there's a reason
mm,
I'm asking. Are you on any type of medication?
yeah, now
Okay.
yeah,
Because um, there are some schools of thought, and we realize that everything we're told isn't true, but
hmm,
that part of the pharmaceutical agenda is to create blockages,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Now, I've talked to a few people on this show. I know really more than a few, but I would say a few this year that people I've run into that have been on pharmaceuticals for a long time that just got off, whether it be for
Yeah.
mental or whether it be for physical. I know a guy that had a heart attack 2 years ago, and he just said, "I'm not taking the medicine anymore." Now, I don't know if that's the right thing to do or the wrong thing to do. I'm just trying to pass information, and maybe other people have comments. Michael Whitefeather says something interesting here. He says that fear and nightmares can't be experienced without a soul. So
Oh, okay.
I I personally don't see how you can not have your soul. I think there were times in the last 12,000 years where there was some major fuckery going on, but with the soul thing. But we were never in any danger. We created this whole thing. It's here for us to learn and expand. Some of these are harder to figure out than other ones, and you're very it takes a lot of courage to come on this show and talk about what's happened to you.
Yeah, it was. I was very nervous, and I thought to myself, do I do it right to talk about it? But I think that people have to know about this, and also my mistake was when I was in Switzerland, going back to Holland. And I knew that because I knew when I'm going back to Holland, terrible things happened to me. But I don't listen to my intuition. I stepped in fear and I go back to Holland. So yeah, that was not so yeah,
Do you?
not so good.
Well, once it's done, right? It is perfection.
Yeah,
So, I was going to ask you. So, what would you? Is this what you wanted to talk about today? If you had a choice, is this what you want to talk about? Because I think they're saying you're brave, super brave. You're not alone. But I mean, I totally can respect coming out here and wanting to talk about this so other people can be aware of it. That's what this show's all about. And
yeah,
and I think it's important because for most of, let's just say, most of the topics on this show, we're going to probably hit close to 4,000 shows by the end of this year, have been about things that we experience that most of the time feel pretty good, like channeling or seeing Mother Mary or being visited
yeah,
by Star Family or a relative that passed that came back to talk to you, or animal whispering. But there's also the other side. And see, the thing about what we mostly talk about is you don't see those conversations in the world. You don't see them on
no,
talk shows, and you don't see it in the papers and the internet. You don't see it. And I think it's the most powerful code that we can share with each other. Now, what I'm getting at is the reason people write and make comments and show up here and watch the replays is because what they tell us is that they thought they were the only one. They thought they were weird
yeah,
or crazy or strange. And now they know they're not. And I always make the
yeah,
joke, this is where all the crazy people hang out because crazy's not crazy no more. But what you're doing is you're bringing up, let's just say, from the human perspective, the dark part of what we don't share with each other.
yeah,
And you're not, like some people will talk about the type of thing you're talking about, and to say, oh, it's Illuminati and reptilians and the archons, and whether it is or isn't, it doesn't really matter. That type of commentary tends to be like, oh, it's us against them. But you're actually explaining your situation from pure honesty. You're not saying any. You're not like really charged by it. You are disempowered by your own admission, and you're looking for a solution. But you're also looking to share, which I think is really important, because I guarantee you somebody else will come on this show, or write to come on this show, and have the same type of story or something similar because of you. So yeah, I really feel like that. You're very brave for doing this.
Thank you. It's my job.
It's your job. So you don't feel like you're getting any guidance at all from any of your other aspects. It's just you.
No, I don't feel it. I don't feel it's if I'm all alone and my guidance, I can reach them. I can't reach them, and I can't reach by God, and I can't reach my higher self, and if it's all gone, if I don't know how they did it, but it is, yeah.
No, it was a lag. Go ahead.
Oh, so I don't. I know some day I was lying on a couch, and I said to my friend, who I thought was my friend, will you give me a healing? And she did it, and she took some things away. She told me, and I said, I was, I thought, what do you take away? She says, I don't know, but I know now that she took a lot from me, from my strength, and
Esther is in Holland now. So I've heard quite a few people, and I think actually probably almost everybody can relate to this, for some period of time after they woke up. Could be years later, could last for weeks, could last for, I've heard people talk about it, 2 or 3 years that's happened. And what that is, like when most of us had wake-up experiences, there was through feeling or vision or sound or something, what seemed like a divine essence or, an energy outside of my body. Like maybe it's Jesus, right? Or Arcturians, or Mary, or Kuan Yin, right? And even higher self, I guess, right? And then there would come a time where everything turned off, like what you're talking about, with the exception, in your case, of having this experience with these dark energies. And maybe that's something to consider too, because maybe at the soul level, you made the choice to have this experience so you could stand alone and as we're all learning, to embody everything within yourself, to include the soul, to include the divine essences that might have helped you in the past, or whatever it may be, angels or whatever, and even these these energies that you're talking about, which for me is just, it's the story part of it. We sometimes we think that just because it wasn't human beings, right? Like the human beings are part of the story. We know that. They're just delivering the messages, right? You know what I mean? But the same would apply to extraterrestrials or off-planet beings. They're still part of the story. They don't have any more or less power over us than the person standing next to us in human form. So I don't know. It's a very, now that you've brought it up, I think it's a very like a 0-point reset to prove to yourself you are who you know you are. I don't know who said that, but somebody on Facebook. But thank you. But I think the importance of you coming out is, again, we don't talk about this part of it. And when we talk about the dark part of it, we don't typically talk about it in this way that we've talked about it today. Where we're not damning it, and we're not, and we know that somehow or another it all comes together, but we're not there yet.
Yeah.
And this could be said for a lot of things. This could be said for somebody who's been, harmed, like, raped, or memories are coming back, and here's what happened to me, and here's how it felt. I mean, it's not even about the solution. It's about hearing somebody else talk about something that you went through that's very similar. Because let me ask you this. Do you feel any lightness or any release at all from being able to talk about this? No.
No.
You don't feel anything?
No.
Nothing's changed by telling the story?
No.
Do you feel like you might have helped other people?
Yes. I think.
Well, so that would have to make you feel a little lighter. If you feel like this would help somebody, that would have to make you look. See, you are, because you just laughed and smiled.
Yeah.
So, I mean, and maybe again, maybe what you're bringing out today isn't so much about the specifics of the story, but the generality of it, which is like, it's okay to talk about these things. I'm not crazy, right?
Yeah.
It's one thing to be called crazy because you see Jesus or Kuan Yin, or you communicate with nature beings. But it's another thing to be called crazy when you say, hey, I went to hell in a car and they took some things from me. But it's really, both of them are the human experience.
Yeah.
Much closer to reality than what we always thought was what was reality. So I think it's important. I think that's important what you did, or what you're doing, because it just sends a message to everyone. It's okay to talk about anything you experience, and in a space where you're not going to be judged and laughed at and called crazy.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly.
I was talking to a friend of mine yesterday for a couple, quite some time, and because I was referring to a show from a couple of days ago, and the lady was talking, and while she was talking about her own journey, she mentioned compassion. And if somebody had asked me what is compassion before that show, I would have said, well, it's love, it's caring, it's empathy, even sympathy. But after I listened to this lady, and I can't remember which one it was, I realized that compassion, there's no judgment. And then, because think about it, there's no judgment. You're actually looking at this person no differently, no matter what they say or what's said about them or what they do. You know what I mean? That's compassion. And so I was talking to my friend, and somewhere along the line, somewhere in the stream of the day, and somebody was saying that 5D consciousness is compassion. And I think what you're doing today is you're testing the water. You're stepping out and having faith in that compassion. of non-judgment, and
Yeah.
saying, here's my story. I don't have any answers. Here's my story.
Yeah.
And I believe that's something that we haven't seen a lot of, particularly when it's involving, let's say, dark interactions. What we see as dark.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yes.
Do you feel like you are your soul?
No.
No?
No.
I am soul.
Yes. I am soul, but I can't feel him.
Wow. What do you feel? Like when you feel your own essence, what do you feel?
If I feel now, I feel just a human in a body
Human.
with no yes, how do you say that? With no extras.
No extra.
With,
Just the
yeah,
human.
no,
You
no
just
extra.
feel very human. But again, this is something a lot of people have talked about and felt and experienced. Even recently, I've had this. I've had to snap out of it a couple times in the last 3 or 4 weeks where I only feel human. And again, I wonder if this is kind of a cycle, like ups and downs, or a cycle where, because one thing I have noticed is when there's a strong, powerful, embodied, conscious dimensional experience, and I've just noticed this recently, I talked about it yesterday, there seems to be a pullback real quick. Like you go from the highest level of connection with the universal, and then all of a sudden, boom, where'd everybody go? It's just me standing here. And then we get back to the old conversations with the universe, like, get me out of here. I'm done. I'm done. This makes no sense. Like we're yo-yos.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so it could be, it could be that. But I think, I think another thing that we don't talk about enough, which I guess it's all related, is how do we feel about ourselves? Because I bet you that if we went around the room and asked people, almost like a scan, everyone gets scanned, like not like humanly medical doctor, but like cosmic doctor. You scan everybody, go around the room. How do you feel about yourself? We ask everybody, how do you feel about yourself? How much do you love yourself? Instead of people, we're saying, hey, you got to love yourself, and, you got to do this, but actually, how much do you love yourself? And I would bet you that if the answers are honest, the energetic deficiency or blockage that was, manifesting in their body or in an experience like with you would be connected. That's it. You're a brave soul, and that's a tough question. How much do we love ourselves on a scale of 1 to 10?
Yeah. If I have to say now, I think 60%.
60.
Yeah, because I'm also angry at myself that all that stuff has happened, and that I didn't listen to my intuition.
Bingo.
Yeah.
Bingo. So there's a breakthrough right there. I'm not a healer, but I'm just saying you're a healer. And look, I think that the big word is compassion, and I know when I started doing, I would say, the last Not that it's the last one, but the last round of healing that I jumped into was summer of 2021 when I got back from Soulogy Fest in Sedona, and it lasted, and probably until maybe it's still not over, but maybe a year. It's been a little over a year now. But the way it started for me was because I was alone, and Morgan had gone back to Australia, and it was kind of weird. And I knew that I was going to be doing a lot of self-examination. So a lot of stuff was coming up, and I just remember saying constantly to myself, I forgive myself. I forgive myself. And then I just kept making it a habit every day. I must have done it 20 times, 30 times a day. And that helped me a lot. But then going back to what they were saying about compassion, where there is compassion, there's no judgment. But we often think about these words in terms in regard to other people. But what about ourselves? You're angry with yourself. And we can all relate to this. I'm angry for myself for a lot of things. But if we can be angry with ourselves, can we have compassion for ourselves? Can we look at what we've done and not judge it? Because if we don't judge it, there's nothing to forgive. So, compassion. We think these things are corny and cliches, but they're not. It takes guts to be a divine human being. We're all human beings, but to be a divine human being means that you have to practice what you preach and walk the talk, and take a word like compassion and embody it for yourself.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes. That's right.
Well, I think you're beautiful, by the way. You're a beautiful
Thank
soul.
you all.
You're a beautiful
Thank you.
soul. You're absolutely a beautiful soul. You're just transparent. We can't underestimate these things. It's not the things the world gives us credit for that are powerful. It's the things that the world wouldn't acknowledge, including our psychic abilities and our transparency, the power of transparency, which you don't have to say a word. It's coming out. And everybody benefits from it. All you got to do is be around it or see it or run into somebody who saw it. I'll go see somebody, I won't even tell them about you or this show, and I'm picking up like a tuning fork. I'm picking up code and frequencies from you, and I will be better for it, and they will too. That's how this works. Yeah. I don't think the whole teaching people how to ascend and how to live, life coaching, no offense to anybody, but I don't think that's going with us. I think it's like this. I think it's Esther's. People just saying, this is who I am, this is what's happened to me, this is how I feel, and not bullshitting. I said, do you feel, and you said 60%.
Yeah.
That's, that's how you feel. And how many other people feel 60%, and how many feel less than 60%, and how many feel more than 60%. And can you imagine going to a place like a circle with a bunch of light workers, and everybody wants to talk about all the things they can do? I can do this. I talk to Mother Mary. I can do that. I can do light language. I'm a druid. I'm a angel. But what if we got in that circle and talked like this? I love myself at 60%. Wow. Because you know what? The other 3 people over here that are at 50 and 40%, they won't say anything. But if they hear somebody say what you said, they'll say it. And there's more power. There's more power in that than anything anybody can teach us.
Yeah.
Do you look? Yeah. See, this lady says this candid conversation is helpful for me. Lyra 2112. Thank you. Yeah, I think we should continue to have these types of conversations, Esther.
Okay, it's fine for
Both
me.
with you and other people.
Yeah,
I want to try something. Are you open to it? You got a few minutes?
yeah.
My friend suggested something the other day. We were talking about ideas and playing with these cartoons, the animation and how we could present powerful messages and truth frequencies and such. And we were just talking, and he said, what if you asked somebody on the show, I'll just say it like to you, Esther, can you talk to me as your higher self soul and as Esther on the same conversation?
I hope so.
So, okay, let's play with it. Because I knew one day it would come in handy. I said, man, I'm going to try that one day, but how do you do that with somebody? But somebody that's as transparent as you, because the truth is the truth. The truth, people see the truth, they feel it. Okay, so let's start this way. Okay, so let's start with your higher self soul, because we've talked to your human, right? I don't know if you want to. I don't know if you want to close your eyes. I don't know if you want to keep your eyes open. It doesn't matter. So I'm gonna speak to your higher self. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay. So, all right, everybody, support this situation. I don't know. I don't know Esther's higher self's name, and it doesn't really matter, but I can certainly feel the energy. So I'm just going to say to Esther's higher self, what is it that you would like to say?
What I like to say is to people to so listen to your soul, because it's time for the soul. It's time to be the soul and live it here on earth, and follow your intuition and don't go in fear.
Thank you. I have a couple of comments, but I think I'll ask you another question because that was remarkable. Wow. I don't even know what else to ask. Okay, maybe I'll ask something else. Let's see. We'll just see how it goes. So I'm going to ask Esther's higher self. It feels to me like there's some major purging going on. The deepest shadows, the deepest fears seem to be coming up in people in so many different ways very recently. Is that true? And what does that mean?
Yes, that's true. And what does that mean? Because everybody has to be clean, has to be, how do you say that, purged or something?
Yes.
And the level of the frequency is so high that nothing can be put inside anymore. Everything has to come out.
Yes. Wow. So, Sue Padden said you had answered the first question, answered Esther, the human aspects question. I noticed that too. And the other thing I noticed is your voice changed.
Oh, okay.
And the other thing I noticed is that Esther, the human, said she thinks maybe her soul's gone. And yet, when we asked to speak to her soul spoke. I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I really appreciate the last answer because that felt very real too. You know,
Yeah.
everyone's purging more than ever.
Yeah.
And let me just say to this, Gina, Lisa, Messerole, I saw your comment earlier, and yeah, if you'd like to do that, soulogynetwork@gmail.com. If you'd send us a note, let's get up here and do it. And thank you for the comment. Yeah, powerful, Esther. Do you live alone? Do you have family or friends?
Yes. I live alone. I have one daughter who is traveling, and what I earlier said, she's bringing people to God. I have a son.
Go ahead.
I don't have contact with my son. He's very depressed. I don't see him anymore, and I'm here. Alone. I have maybe 2 friends, and the rest of it I don't trust it anymore.
Well, you got a whole community of friends here, hundreds of thousands. Yeah, hundreds of thousands.
Thank you.
Yeah, well, thank you. We'll have to do it again sometime.
Yeah, I'd like to.
But I hope. I don't use that word. I feel that this has been an expanding, uplifting experience for everyone involved, including me and you. And I don't think, like so many things that are happening now, when they come in, you don't really feel the fullness of it right away. It takes a few days. So
okay.
I look forward to communicating with you in the next few days and reading, hearing about or reading about how you've become lighter,
Yeah.
So there's 111. Okay. There's 111 people in the house, so that ought to mean something too. When you end up with exactly 111, I just have to say, everyone, that this is a big deal. Okay, I mean, I didn't even know if I was going to make it this morning, to be honest with you.
Okay.
I'm gone through some major purging. I can't really even talk about it, but I would say it like this. It had something to do with, and I still haven't quite put it into words. So this really powerful force came in, because I slept here last night because I worked late, and it was extremely powerful, almost scary. And it was not the mother goddess, it was the Father God. And he explained to me that living is dying and dying is living. And that what we thought was dying isn't death. And what we thought was living isn't life. And he went on to explain, and I haven't written all this out yet, but he went on to explain that when we're sharing, like you did today, we're giving. But when we're sharing, and it comes from, doesn't matter about me, because I'm going to pick up on it. Like if you're the one sharing, that we equally receive. So like what you did today, in my opinion, based on what I was being shown last night, you were sharing, so you were giving up your energy freely in love and in service and for yourself even. And because of the purity of it, you're receiving an equal amount of energy from it. And it's expansive. Okay. It's expansive. But I don't think I said all that right, but I'm going to try to dig into it. But I have a feeling it has something to do with you coming on today, because my heart feels very, very full, right? And it's a powerful thing. So I hope to see more of this. Yeah. Any of y'all want to come on? And Gina, Lisa, if you want to come on and have a conversation with your higher self and human self in the same broadcast, or anyone else, SoulogyNetwork@gmail.com. And we'll be back later today. Thank you, everyone, for the love and support and contributions to allow us to keep doing this every day. It's not easy. It's not been easy. But we're going to come back every day and do it. As long as the Esthers
Thank you for inviting.
Yeah, as long as the Esthers of the world are going to come, we'll be showing up. Thank you so much. I love you, Esther. Thank you for sharing
Bye.
yourself. You take care.